Everyone, my name is Yash Roongta. I'm the founder of the Alt Investor. Today, I'm making a short video just to explain everyone what's an OBPP platform, uh, what's its significance in the Indian markets, and what should you as a retail investor know before investing uh, via an OBPP platform into one of the bonds. We already have an article about this on the Alt Investor blog. I'll ensure that this link is mentioned in the description of the video. But let's quickly go through it today. So, what's OBPP? So, OBPP stands for Online Bond Platform Providers. It's a SEBI registered platform that facilitates the buying and selling of bonds in the Indian market. Mostly, it's a synonym for all the fintech platforms that you see right now in the Indian market. Like Grip Invest, India Bonds, Bonds India, the Fixed Income, Golden Pie, Aspero, and many others. I guess we have a list on the blog. I'll show you at the end. But these fintech platforms have made it so easy for you to invest in the listed bond market that the participation from retail end has grown a lot. And SEBI has took notice of this participation and launched the OBPP guidelines in November 2022. Under these guidelines, you can invest on listed, regulated, and rated instruments via these platforms. These can be any debt products like securitized debt instruments, popularly known as SDIs, government securities like T-bills, state development loans, sovereign gold bonds, corporate listed debt, etc. Uh, any fintech company now who wants to sell a listed bond needs to get OBPP license and needs to be registered with SEBI as a broker in the debt segment and subsequently apply to the exchange as well as a OBPP platform. Why did SEBI bring this regulation in the market? I mean, they noticed a couple of mis-selling happening where these platforms, for example, all these platforms were offering listed and unlisted debt, which made it normal layman retail investor to very difficult to figure out, oh, what am I investing in? Is it listed? Is it unlisted? What are the risks associated with it? There's no standard guidelines as well in terms of what KYC needs to be done, how should marketing of these products be done, how will the compliance work, how will the trustee mechanism work. It was not documented very well. There was also no framework to resolve complaints. So let's say you bought a bond from a platform, and for whatsoever reason that bond didn't transfer to you after 6 7 days as well, and your money is stuck. You go and complain to the platform, they don't care, they don't listen to you. So you couldn't go to SEBI to complain as well because there was no framework before. And all these platforms, the common problem in terms of mis-selling was they were selling high yield instruments by comparing them with FDs. So let's say a platform will show you the FD return is 6% during last year, and my bond will give you 15%. So that's not a fair comparison because both these products have very different risk profiles. So that's how SEBI decided to bring these guidelines into the picture. Let's quickly go through our SEBI circular. So this is the circular that SEBI brought in on November 14, 2022. This circular is, I think, so roughly around 9 pages long. I've downloaded it here. Let's quickly go through it here. SEBI also brought a follow-on circular on OBPP in June 16, 2023, regarding some clarifications. I'll quickly go through this circular first, specifically this point, which says, securities that can be offered on online bond platforms will be listed debt securities, listed municipal debt securities, and listed securitized debt instruments. Debt securities, municipal debt securities, and securitized debt instruments proposed to be listed through a public offering, listed government securities, state development loans, treasury bills, listed sovereign gold. Very focused on the word listed. Everything has to be listed. You can't sell any sort of unlisted bond on the platform. So with listed bonds, you can also transfer these bonds to someone else in the secondary market sale if you want to. So what other restrictions of products did OBPP regulation bring on the platforms was, you can't sell anything that was not discussed before via its own platform or even via associated platform or website. Uh, it is reiterated that an online acting entity acting as an OBPP shall divest itself of offerings of other products or services. So I think so. Grip Invest also used to do commercial real estate property investments via Strata, and they used to do angel investments via an AIF route as well. But now, if you go onto their website, I think so they don't do it anymore. Let's quickly check out. Um, uh, okay, so I'm re-logged in. If I go to view all deals and if you go to the very bottom, startup equity, it says in line with the SEBI OBPP license, discovery of startup equity opportunities will be enabled through a separate online platform going forward. This will not change the AIF through which you are investing. Similar for commercial property, they have done a similar disclaimer. So I guess that is to comply with the regulation which is mentioned here. It also says that a holding company, subsidiary, or associate of an online bond platform provider or any third party shall not utilize the name, brand name, any name resembling to that of the OBPP or the online bond platform for undertaking any activity or offering product, securities, or services that are not regulated by a financial sector regulator. So that means, if let's say tomorrow a platform like Giraffe, which is kind of unregulated right now, it's not an OBPP platform, wants to launch a OBPP platform, they can't name it as Giraffe itself. They have to name it something else, and they'll not be able to on that OBPP platform. They'll not be able to market their unregulated investments like invoice discounting or unlisted debt via the OBPP platform. So SEBI has made that very clear under this clause. It also says that an online bond platform provider shall not have on its online bond platform or any other platform website any link to tab to websites, platforms, or its holding company, subsidiary, or associate undertaking any activity or offering products, securities, or services that are not regulated by a financial sector regulator. So that means, like I said, Giraffe can't have whatever the new platform which Giraffe will launch will not cannot have any link to the old Giraffe which will sell unregulated products. Um, so the restrictions are pretty clear. I'll ensure there is a link of this document in the video description as well. Let's go back to that original circular which was released in November 2022, just to understand some more rules and regulation. So looking at this old document, it says an entity operating or desirous of operating an OBP, which is online bond platform, shall, after obtaining registration as a stockbroker in the debt segment, apply to a recognized stock exchange to act as an online bond provider platform as specified under the NCS regulation. It also defines the roles and responsibilities. The entity has appointed a company secretary as a compliance officer. Now, this is very important because let's say whenever you have a dispute with your broker, the first point of contact that you have to make it is with a compliance officer at that OBP platform. Only and only if you are unsatisfied with whatever resolution they have offered, and you think that you should be offered something better or they are not being fair to you, you can go to a portal called SEBI Scores to make an official complaint, where a SEBI appointed representative will look into your complaint, look at your existing conversation with the compliance officer, and then make a decision or instruct the company to offer you a fair deal or something. It also says the entity has appointed at least two qualified key managerial person with an experience of at least 3 years in the securities market, which is very good. The entity has obtained SEBI complaints redress system score. So this is what I was talking about. You have to go to scores to launch a complaint, and they will be able to address grievances whenever you have anything. It also gives out the technology framework that it owns and maintains a robust technology infrastructure with high degree of reliability, availability, scalability, and security. The entity has adequate suitable systems in place to disseminate information pertaining to transactions on a real time or near real time basis. Then, in terms of the operating framework, you have access and participation. It shall have an objective, fair, and transparent criteria for registration or investors or sellers on its OBP. Undertake due diligence at the time of registration of users, investors, sellers. So this is your normal KYC that you have to do everywhere. That's mandated by law, of course. Uh, and also establish necessary systems, frame suitable policies in writing for registration of users, investors, sellers. All pretty standard stuff. I'll link this document as well if you want to read it in detail. Um, it also talks about the execution of orders. So the entity shall ensure that all orders with respect to listed debt securities placed on OBP are mandatorily routed through the RFQ platform of the recognized stock exchange and settled through the respective clearing corporations. Now, this has been happening across all OBP platforms via an offline method where you register your interest, you request for quote. Once you get a quote back, you pass on your money, you deposit your money into the clearing corporation's escrow accounts, and then they will reconcile that and give you that listed security within 7 days. I think Grip Invest is the first platform. They launched, I think, 5th or 6th of October with a complete end-to-end RFQ integration with the exchange where you can directly pay via UPI directly to the exchange, and the settlement of the security also happens on a T+1 basis, which is quite fast, efficient, and also is in the interest of the investor as well. You get the security faster once you pay your money. Gives you that peace of mind. Uh, Point two is all orders with respect to debt securities proposed to be listed through a public offering placed on OBP shall be mandatorily routed and settled through the stock exchange mechanism. Again, pretty standard stuff. We have other stuff as well. There's also one point on advertisements. The entity undertakes to ensure that its advertisement shall be in conformity with the advertisement code as specified at Annex C. So if we go to Annex C, it says it should be accurate, true, fair, clear, complete, unambiguous, which is fine. No celebrity shall form uh, part of the advertisement. I guess they don't have to do that kind of expense then. But the definition of celebrities is quite vague. But I'm sure the platforms will do the right thing. And other, you know, common stuff. So language used in advertisement shall be simple and shall not use technical or legal terminology, etc., etc. Any advertisements in regional language shall contain the standard warning in such legal language. Interesting. Let's go back to the tops. Investor grievance redress mechanism. Entity undertakes to take steps to redress the grievances of investors within 30 days from the date of receipt of the complaint. Like we discussed earlier, you have to any grievances you have to discuss it with the compliance officer first, and then go to the SEBI scores portal if required. Risk management, it has a comprehensive risk management framework covering all aspects of its operations and shall ensure that risk associated with its operations are identified properly and managed prudently. It shall have a mechanism to ensure access control for its investors and sellers and prevent unauthorized access to the OBP. All pretty standard stuff. Disclosure of conflict of interest. The entity undertakes to identify and disclose on its OBP all instances of conflict of interest. Data integrity, reporting and disclosure requirements. And then finally, minimum disclosure requirements for each debt security offered for sale on the OBP. So this is quite good. It has listed all 12 points that the regulator expects out of all OBP platforms for each and every bond out there. So let's say if you have to compare it, let me open up Grip Invest, which is also one of the biggest OBP platforms in India right now. So if we go to this Incred bond, invest in quarterly income A plus rated bond maturing in May 25. So let's try and find the ISIN for this bond somewhere, which is a mandated requirement as per the regulator. So let's try and find it. So about the seller. Okay, here it is. So other disclosures ISIN. So let me copy this ISIN and go to another OBP platform, which is India Bonds that I've chosen. So let me just zoom in, go to explore section. So it's the bond here, InCred Financial Services Limited. And let me just compare both the platforms with the disclosures that they have done. So this is Grip Invest, this is India Bonds. So yeah, this is what we were after. So other disclosures, the issuer name is Include Financial Services, InCred Financial Services Limited. Security name is also mentioned, which is also mentioned here. ISIN is mentioned. Nature of instrument is listed, which I think so is mentioned here. Original mode of issue is public issuance. Issue is public. Rating of the instrument is A plus by CRISIL ratings. Face value is 1000 per INR. Sorry, 1000 per unit. So that's also the coupon rate 9.45%, which is also mentioned. The date of maturity is 2nd of May 2025. That's also mentioned. Yield to maturity is, I mean, that can change. So it's based on the calculator and the offer documents, information memorandum attached below, which I think so GRIP does here. So bond issue memo. If you load that up, and I think so they have also done it here in download issue documents. So if I download it, term sheet, no, that looks like that's an error. So let me try again. No, I don't think so. That file is corrupted, but GRIP's document is here. Although even GRIP doesn't allow you to download it, which is you know mandatory requirement of PDF available for download. I have a way of downloading it via inspect element, but that's not ideal. I think they should work on this and provide a way to download it. Anyway, coming back, so yeah, there are minimum disclosure requirements as well, which kind of gives a fair playing field to all the platforms. So which platforms currently are OBPP? For this, I would request you to go to our blog, and we have mentioned all the points that we have discussed in this video as well. And at the very bottom, you'll see platforms registered as OBPP. So we have Grip Invest, India Bonds, Wintwealth, Bonds India, Golden Pie, Bonds Card, Fixed Income, Multiplier, Incred Money, Aspero. I've mentioned the minimum investment, what products do they offer, and what is the average IRR, average returns as well. So feel free to check them out. To conclude, which we have also written here, it's a great step by SEBI. It brings a level playing field, transparency, a good framework for resolving disputes as well. We have seen more and more OBP platforms coming up into the market, but that's good for us as investors because that increases competition as well and transparency as well. If you are a first time investor, we recommend you or we request you to first try out the OBP platforms rather than directly going into the unregulated products. Do not get tempted by the high IRRs that other unregulated platforms offer if you don't understand the risks involved. If you understand the risk involved, great, go for it. But if you're a new investor, try out the OBP platforms first, see how things work, what information do they give, and then move on to the unregulated platforms if you have to. If you can stick to the regulated platform, it serves your investing needs and risk needs. I would say stick to it. There's nothing better. Okay, I think that's it. Thank you so much for watching this video. We'll try and come up with another video where we discuss how you can file a complaint on the scores portal, which will be helpful if a dispute happens within OBP platform. But do let us know your feedback in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe with the relevant people. Thank you so much.